Al Stewart, now an octogenarian, played the Cambridge Corn Exchange. But just how good was it? Let's get into it. Welcome classic rock fans to a short video where I want to discuss the recent Al Stewart concert I attended. If you're new to this channel, please do click like, subscribe and check that notification bell, and check some of the links below this video for ways you can support the sterling work done at Classic Album Review. Always much appreciated. Become a patron. I know I keep saying this, but become a patron. We're forming a real classic rock community over there. Anyway, Al Stewart, 80 years old and playing the Cambridge Corn Exchange, still exuding a warmth and stage presence, which is an incredibly charismatic personality, I think. Great sense of humour as he dips back into his back catalogue, over 17 studio albums. I think there's about 4 live albums in there as well. In fact, the first track he plays is off one of his very early albums, I think. He quips, released in 1922. But it was like a 13 or 14 song set over an hour and a half. It's billed as his last tour, or maybe I've got that wrong. Maybe it's his last tour with his current touring band. Maybe he'll just go out and do sort of seated acoustic gigs after that. I hope he does, because his storytelling between the songs and introducing the numbers is just absolutely entertaining. So the show opened with a 30-minute support set from his backing band from Chicago, I believe, called the Empty Pockets. And I think these guys are parting ways, really, Al Stewart and this backing band. But then, of course, by the time Al Stewart comes on, he regales us with these whimsical numbers, with an irrepressible, childlike glee. And always a wonderful talk. He regales us with stories of working with people like Richard Thompson, Ralph McTell, Roy Harper, and Sandy Denny. He evokes the ghost of Sandy Denny on a couple of sea-themed numbers. Midas Shadow was a tribute to Robert Fripp. Robert Fripp apparently was Al Stewart's guitar tutor many years ago. He said, Robert Fripp taught me all these jazz chords, which I've never ever used. And Antarctica was another interesting number early on in the set, prefaced by him talking about his interest in history and Scott and, of course, Shackleton a bit later on. He said it was all effectively a kind of a metaphor for a thinly veiled story about a cold and unresponsive woman. And that was followed by Lord Granville and the Palace of Versailles, which reveals, of course, Al's fascination with history. Of course, that was followed by On the Border from the Year of the Cat, a firm favourite in the Al Stewart set list. Before we got a song called The Georgian, which is all about Joseph Stalin and the Bolsheviks in hell, which was apparently supposed to be released as a dance number, which the record company didn't much care for. But the whole thing all wraps up with a performance of his number, I suspect, which is Year of the Cat. Before leaving the stage, he comes back on, and the encore is a Bob Dylan number, Love Minus Zero, before a few band introductions, and they vacate the stage. I do hope this is not a goodbye, but just a kind of a see you later. But who knows? Couldn't recommend it more. In fact, I will put a link below this video which details further dates and places he's playing if you want to check him out. Anyway, that's my brief assessment of Al Stewart's thoroughly engaging performance from a thoroughly engaging performer. Were you there? Are you a big fan of Al Stewart? Please leave a comment below and let me know all about it. Anyway, I'll urge you once more to click like, subscribe and share this video and do all that stuff that helps the channel along. And other than that, just leave you with my closing catchphrase, which is hope you're well, staying safe, and of course that you keep listening.